What's up, you guys? Today we are gonna unbox the 2004 Bon Jovi box set. 100 million Bon Jovi fans can't be wrong. In other words, a total gem right here. So I don't even know where to begin, but let's go back to 2004. So back in 2004, between the band releasing This Love Feels Right and them still recording Have a Nice Day, in 2004, we got this incredible box set to celebrate 20 years of the band at the time. And then it just hit 100 million albums sold. The cover is actually inspired by, obviously, Elvis Presley. He did 50 million Elvis fans, can't be wrong, with the gold suits and all that, or something like that. So they replicated that, and they just band looks awesome in this. So I remember I was a fan in 2004, so I was a fan for 4 years already. I would have been 12 years old, this tall. And I remember it was being released, forgive me on the day, I'm drawing a blank on it, November 2004, I know it was being released. And at the time, when I became a fan in 2000, I got crushed right around the release, I think actually on release date, because I begged my parents to get it, but that's a different story. But One Wild Night came out in 2001, got on the first day. Bounce came out, got on the first day. This Life Feels Right, got on the first day. I wasn't going to break tradition with this, no way. And I can stand here or sit here and say I have not missed a Bon Jovi release on the first day, if not getting it beforehand. So I begged my dad, because my dad was going to get this for me for Christmas. And I begged him, I said, Dad, please, 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 please let me get this on release day. And he goes, you're going to have to wait till Christmas. I said, Dad, I need to go to the store and have it in my hands and just look. And this is before, media. So, I remember band interviews were promoting this, but you didn't know really what the box set looked like, nothing. So I talked my dad into going to the store with me and picking it out. And he said, you're not going to get it till Christmas. So my first battle, the only battle that I cared about at the time, was making sure I got this on the first day. So we went to the store first thing in the morning. They had a few box sets. And I remember this was like $60, $70 at the time. And it's worth it. Trust me, it was worth it. Now you can go on eBay and get it for like $10. But back then, this thing was like $60, $70. So we got it, checked out, went to the car. The first battle was over. The next battle was being able to at least listen to a CD. Asked my dad, he said, no, you have to wait till Christmas. He said, it's going home, it's going to be wrapped up, and you get it on Christmas Day. I said, Dad, please. And I just kept begging him and begging him and begging him. And I probably bartered with him, I'll do this if you. So my dad was a great man. And so we got home, and he said, okay, if you want to listen to just one CD, that's it. Then I have to give it back and wait till Christmas. I said, okay. I picked disc 3. I think it was because I had heard Edge of a Broken, and this is before online, you could listen to music online, so this is before that. So I remember hearing Edge of a Broken Heart somewhere, and I was like, okay, that's the one I gotta get. So I put in CD 3, and I think the runtime of disc 3 was like 45 minutes. That 45 minutes went like that. I was in heaven listening to all these songs, and I begged my dad to listen to the rest of the CD. He wouldn't cave. So getting back the box set, and then Christmas Day comes. I look for the rectangular wrapped up gift and went under the tree and grabbed it and unwrapped it. I was like, yes. And I remember all Christmas Day, I remember we had to go to some family's houses, but I remember any chance that I took during the whole Christmas break, this was in on my CD player, and I've loved it ever since. It's truly just a gem of a box, and we're gonna go through it. So the collector in me has to have the album signed. I know that sounds a little selfish of me, but I just have to have signed copies. It took me years to get a signed copy. So the band did a sign-in in New York City back in 2004, and I've been on the hunt on eBay for one of these. These are really hard to come by, and I got one. Signed by David, Richie, John, and Tico. Some of the Sharpie, is fading away, unfortunately. I got to find a way to preserve it. Doesn't help with my fingerprints on it right now. But so anyway, let's get back to it. This is the cover here. So like I said, this is just massive. So you open it up and you get the discs, all 5 discs. So the first 4 discs are outtakes, which we're going to talk about some of the songs. There are outtakes, demos from each album. And I tell you this, you listen to this box set and every single song you're like, well, I'll say almost every song on this, you think to yourself, how did this not make the album? It's so good. You know, prime example, Starting All Over Again, Why Aren't You Dead, Out of Bounds, Edge of a Broken Heart. It's criminal it didn't make the album. And I just go on and on and on. But yeah, so the first 4 discs are demos and outtakes from the first 20 years of the band. Actually, I don't even think anything from 84, 85 is on this. There might be, I'll have to look at the track listing real quick, but I know 86, Out of Bounds is on there. But anyways, and then disc 5 is a DVD, which is really cool because it has a lot of video archives. You know, a lot of it was a combination of the band 1990 release Access All Areas, and then they did some studio interviews in 2004 of the band talking about some of these songs, and you know, hearing John and Richie's inspirations behind writing some of these songs and why it didn't make the album, why they didn't think it was good enough. And let's face it, we all know Johnny is not the best at picking songs of what should go on album, what shouldn't go on at Living on a Prayer, Bad Name, or not Bad Name, but Edge of a Broken Heart, I'm sorry, and Always, you know. So it's kind of cool to hear like John's perspective on why this didn't make an album and all that stuff. I mean, it kind of gives you some understanding. Like, yeah, I get why even, you know, like, for example, Why Aren't You Dead? John just thought that was kind of, you know, because we all know Keep the Faith was an album that was, you know, very mature, more mature of the band. The band was trying to break away from the 80s hair band stigma, rightfully so, and turn into a new era, new direction, new focus. And, you know, To Keep the Faith was just incredible songwriting. You know, so it was so socially conscious. You know, great ballads on there and stuff like that. So you really didn't have songs like You Give Love a Bad Name and, you know, Bad Manners and all that stuff. And those are great songs too. I think, you know, like in this box that John says, and that's why Aren't You Dead didn't make the album, is because it was that tongue-in-cheek lyric, and they kind of wanted to focus more on a more serious album. And I get it, rightfully so. Keep the Faith is a gem. Okay. So yeah, so you get this as, you know, you get the band standing, you know, the band's legs, and you know, just kind of showing the lower. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, and these suits are actually, so if you go to the Rock Hall right now in the Bon Jovi Forever exhibit, you'll be able to see the suits there. I've been waiting years. I love seeing Bon Jovi memorabilia, and you know, all the VIPs that VIP parties that I've done, runaway trips, blah blah blah. They've always had like outfits that John has worn over the years, and I've never ever seen the gold outfits until the Bon Jovi Forever exhibit. So it was pretty cool to see that. So let's talk. Oh, almost forgot another cool thing as well. This massive book right here. It's filled with tons of photos of the band's 20 years. Let me find some cool key points. I love this band photo right here in the gold suit. I just love the way that the band looks, the way that Richie's looking directly at the camera, and the rest of the band members are kind of looking one direction, one or the other. So I just love that photo. Even that would have been a really cool cover. Let's see here. This is an unboxing, so I gotta show you some of these. You know, like look at these cool photos here. You know, and like I said about the DVD, they talk about some of the songs on the DVD. They also do that. You could like read a little section about different songs. Let's see here. You know, the band. I think this is like the first time that we ever saw the whole debut album cover, the front and back put together, like that. Let's see here. Trying to find some cool photos. Obviously, I can't take the time to show every single photo in this, but just trying to find some really cool ones that's worth for the video here. Yeah, just a bunch of cool photos here. You know, this is, I love this band photo as well, right in the center of the book. I remember I was on eBay when I was younger, and buying one of these box sets was like $20, just so I could like frame this photo because I loved it so much. And I don't even know what happened to that clip-in, to be honest with you. I'll tell you something else. Red Bank, New Jersey, right there in John's basement. We've seen a lot more of this stuff on Backstage at the Bon Jovi website. But can you imagine being in that room and seeing and listen to all these outtakes and demos? Can you imagine even the stuff when we're gonna get into this, all the stuff that we haven't even heard yet? Let's see here. And then each band member, they do a thanks. Like John's is, may your ship always sail, may your stars always shine, may your dreams all come true with someone by your side, may your smile never fade and your battles be won. May you stay young forever and never give up. Live each day. What more can I say? I send you my love. JBJ. And just some more cool photos there. So that's pretty much the gist of, you get thank yous from each of the band members. So it's really cool to have 20 years worth of photos in here. And then there's also, I gotta find the page, there's also some fans that got to say what the band means to them, that they have here. Yeah, see, like right here, like some fans got to write like different sections and how much the band means to them. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Obviously, this is 21 years ago. Like I said earlier, we got so much stuff that we've probably never heard from the band. I'm talking demos and outtakes. I mean, not everything in the 20 years of the band went on to this. Backstage with Bon Jovi, and there's a lot of cool stuff on there that has a lot of stuff we want to hear. But hopefully, we get a box set soon with 40 years worth of material. I know John mentioned a couple times during a few interviews last year, specifically when they were at the Rock Hall to open the Bon Jovi Forever exhibit. John did say that they want to release a box set, but the record company wants to do a digital box only. And I say, we got to have it on physical media. The collector in me, I just love having it in my hands just like this. We forgot to talk about some of the songs. We got to talk about some of the songs. Why Aren't You Dead? We talked about that. I love that. I think it's a great way to open up the box set. The dun, 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 with Richie on guitar there. Ashes to Ashes, Dust to Dust. There's that. You said you couldn't live without me, so why aren't you dead? I remember being like a teenage kid. You always think, I can't live without this person, and and so I remember all the breakups that I had when I had girls that would say, I can't live without you, blah, blah, blah. And then you'd see them move on and like, why aren't you dead? And so they're like, huh? Radio Saved My Life Tonight. That's another perfect example of why did that not make the album. And I think lyrically, I think it really worked. It would have worked for Keep the Faith, and I think it's an anthem for all of us as Bon Jovi fans. With music pulling you through and through your darkest times. Taking It Back is great. I love the Saturday Night demo, especially with the different chorus of lyrics. And I also like the way that John, I'm going drinking intro. Miss 4th of July was great. I loved it on the Circle tour when the band did it on the Circle stage, acoustic. Open All Night, we all know that's a title that John has played with for years. I think John said somewhere that there's like 4 different songs with that title. Obviously, we got the one on Bounce. We got a couple on here. I Get a Rush. That's one of my favorites. Something Just Might Be Tonight. Thief of Hearts, one of my other favorites. Last Man Standing. Okay, I will stand by this. I don't care if I stand by myself on this. Last Man Standing on this box set is 100,000 times better than the one on Have a Nice Day. Now, I'm not throwing shade at the one on the Have a Nice Day. It's okay. I like it. But nothing beats the one on the box set. For example, I remember when This Life Feels Right DVD came out in 2003. I watched it. I loved that performance. And like I said, back then, the only way you could listen to music was on CDs, cassettes, or through a DVD. And then I was so happy they put it on this. And then I remember when the band released the track listing on their website in 2005 for Have a Nice Day, and Last Man Standing was on there. I was like, oh, great. They even put it on the new album. Great. I remember Have a Nice Day single came out, and then they were also going to premiere Last Man Standing on their website like a week before the album release. And I remember going on to listen to it, and then I pushed play, and I was like, what is this? And then I was like, oh, this is not right. And then all of a sudden, Come and See a Living, Breathing Spectacle. I was like, okay, this is just a different version. And but I think that I just love the way it's the one on the box that has more of a storytelling vibe, I think. So I Just Want to Be Your Man. That's a good one. Garage Land. I've never gotten crazy about Garage Land. It's good, but never gotten crazy over it. Starting All Over Again. I love John's vocals on that. Just blow me away. And I think that was a bonus track on some of the international editions of Keep the Faith. But Starting All Over Again was kind of the band starting all over again. Because obviously John fired Doc McGee, and John and the band they worked through things, and they're like, okay, this is our focus. This is what we're all in this together, and starting all over again, a new era of the band. Maybe Someday. That one actually used to be my favorite as a kid, but I love it, but not one of my favorites now. Last Chance Train. I love the way that John and Richie sing that together, especially You Gotta Meet Me on the Last Chance Train. Fire Inside, incredible JBJ vocals. I think that was for Keep the Faith. Every Beat of My Heart. Rich Man Living in a Poor Man's House. I love that title. Rich Man Living in a Poor Man's House. Pretty much saying that, we don't need to be the richest of people, but, if we have someone to go home and love, and we have a house, and that's what matters, not how much money you have and everything that you own. It's not that you come home to family and all that. The One That Got Away. I love that one. You Can Sleep While I Dream. Every time I listen to that song, I always get the hey, 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 stuck in my head, and I'm singing it in my head all day long. Outlaws of Love is good. Good Guys Don't Always Wear White. We know that was on the Cowboy Way back in 95. We Roll the Night. I think that was actually from 7800, if I'm not mistaken. Edge of a Broken Heart. We know. All right, I got to give a little light on Edge of a Broken Heart because it's a gem. I think this could have been one of the band's biggest hits of all time. Now, I know it was put on Disorderly soundtrack and movie, but if properly put as a single on Slippery, let's say the fourth single instead of Never Say Goodbye or Wide on the Streets, which I absolutely love those songs. Probably my two favorites of Slippery. Edge would have been a huge hit in my opinion. Sympathy is great. And another great thing about this box set too, that every band member gets a spotlight singing. So Tico sings Only in My Dreams. And then David does Memphis Lives in Me, which is from his musical, and then Richie sings If I Can't Have Your Love, which was actually a outtake from Richie's first solo album, Stranger in This Town. Then Crazy Love, Here It Comes Again. I love that. Lonely at the Top, we know that John wrote, and I think he says this in the DVD, that was written for Kurt Cobain's daughter when Kurt passed. Ordinary People, Flesh and Bones, Satellite. I love John's Satellite, Can You Hear Me? John's just lays it all out. If I Can't Have Your Love, we talked about. Real Life. This is probably my favorite on the box set. I love Real Life. A single for EdTV, and it was right in between the Sex Cells demos, which became Crush, but I love that song. It's probably my favorite on the box set. Memphis Lives in Me, we talked about that with David. Too Much of a Good Thing, CD4. I love back-to-back. Love ain't nothing but a 4-letter word. You get the demo and then you get the original release. I love comparing the two because I love to hear demos and see how the song grew to become what the final version is. River Runs Dry, Always, which is a demo. This was like, I think this was like right in the middle of demos they were doing for this song. I love the band's backing vocals at the end. Kidnapping Angel, probably the most heartbreaking song that John has ever written. It's pretty much about someone, losing someone that they love. And I think the most heartbreaking part is when John kind of illustrates, that someone who is going to the hospital to see their significant other or their loved one and sitting by their hospital bed. I've listened to the song probably a million times. Every single time I get goosebumps. Breathe, which we know that was an outtake from Bounce. Out of Bounds, that was from Slippery. Every time I listen to Out of Bounds when he says I'm going down, 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 I start singing Two Story Town because they use this I'm going down, 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 two story. So I always start singing the other song. Letter to a Friend, Temptation. I hate 4 Bon Jovi songs. I love every other song. To be fair, I should say just 3. Temptation is one of them. Let's Make It, and All Hail the King. So Temptation's always the one that I skip on this. Gotta Have a Reason. Absolutely love the way that John and Richie sing on this. It's actually become one of my favorites on here in the last year. All I Want to Do Is You, Billy, and Nobody's Hero. So the fun fact about this one, so it doesn't say it on the box set here, but Nobody's Hero, if you listen to it after the song ends, there's a demo of Living on a Prayer. And it's a demo, and it's so cool. Obviously, we've been hearing more demos in the last year for Living on a Prayer, but I was like, this isn't even listed. So you wonder if that was a mistake, but I know if you look on it digitally, it's listed Living on a Prayer demo. So either way, this thing is a gem. If you don't already have it, which I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're probably a diehard Bon Jovi fan like me, and you already have it. But if you don't, I hope I talked you into it because you should go get it. You could probably go on Amazon, eBay, and get yourself a copy for $10, $15. It's worth it. See you guys.